I'm in Shenandoah National Park, and this is Smith Roach Gap. This is mile marker 69. There's my little red car. And there's a nice parking area here because the Appalachian Trail crosses Skyline Drive right up there. That old fire road goes down the east side of the mountain, and the Park Service is maintaining that road fairly well. You can see there's a chain across it. Now, over here on the west side, there's an old abandoned road, and I'm going to go see, it's up this way to the north, just about 1/10 of a mile. So I'm going to hike along Skyline Drive up here a little ways to a jumping off point, and then I'm going to look down the west side of the mountain, see if I can see any of the old road, and hopefully find my way down the west side of the mountain. There's supposed to be an old family cemetery along the way. This is Smith Roach Gap, and the Roach family cemetery is located on this abandoned road if I can find it. So let me close up my car and see what we can find. The elevation here is 2625. 2/10 of a mile into my hike. Skyline Drive's right up there, and up back that way's the Gap. This is where I came from, and this looks like the beginnings of the old abandoned road that goes down the west side of the mountain. So as usual, there's tons of stuff in the way, but let's follow this down a little ways and see where we end up. Okay, well, the road's pretty well defined here. Maybe you can see the ditch. And here's a hard left turn, and heading up that way, that's where I came from, and there's Skyline Drive right there. But we're getting ready to head on down into the hollow now. And according to the map, we're going to more or less follow a ridge line down. So head on down a ways, and maybe we can find this old cemetery that's supposed to be down here. Four-tenths of a mile into my hike, I'm working my way down the old abandoned road, and here's part of a... At first I thought this might be a cemetery wall, but actually it looks like it's reinforcement for the low side of a road that came down from up there. That's also heading back up towards the Gap. So that one's not on the map. Maybe when I come back up this way, maybe I'll go back up to the Gap that way. I don't know. But anyway, there's a stone wall right here, and some major blockage of the road I came down on. Here's the road I came down on. It's kind of hard to see, but it's a road. And so we're just going to keep on heading down here looking for this old cemetery. Okay, well, the cemetery's here. I can see some stones sticking up. I'll go back in here a little ways and get some pictures. But it is just above that last video. Right over there is that stone wall that's reinforcing the road. and it's right here on the uphill side of that. I just stepped on, right here is some old barbed wire that I guess went around the cemetery, and to tell you the truth, that looks like one right there. That looks like an interment, and it's sunken in. And I see some more over there. There's a bigger one sticking up over there, even bigger ones back there. So I am going to mark this spot, and then we'll look around a little bit. This one's got some hand inscription carved into it, but I can't make it out. Here's another one that's got some inscription on it. I can't really. It was hand inscribed. I can see the last name Roach, R-O-A-C-H, and some dates. One of them looks like September something, 1862. It's just too hard to make it out. Here's another one. It's broken off, so I can't really make it out, but it looks like 1800 era dates. The date at the top looks like 1857 maybe. Really hard to read. Here's another one that's got some marking on it. That top word looks like, might be S-M-I-T-H with a backwards S. Roach, daughter of, I can't make out the rest of it. Bunch of these are sunken in. That one's sunken in. There's another stone with no writing on it. That one's sunken in. There's another one over there. That's sunken in. That's probably another one there, sunken in. A lot of these interments have sunken in over the last 100 years. But this whole area here, I'll do a little pan. This whole area here is a fairly flat spot, and that's probably why it was chosen as a cemetery. It's fairly flat for being in the mountains, because the mountain is steep here. But this one little area is flat. There's all these interments in here. There's a lot of them. A lot of them are just simple field stones stuck in the ground. Some of them have inscription on them. Every one that I've seen that has an inscription, I can see the name Roach, R-O-A-C-H. Here's one that I can actually make part of it out pretty well. It says, The part I can read says, memory of Elisa Beth Roach, died December, it's either the 6th or the 16th, 1886. Elisa Beth Roach died December 1886. 7/10 of a mile into my hike, I'm down to 2430 elevation. That's looking to the west, and I'm heading down that way. Maybe you can see the road, it veers off to the left. And I just stopped here because there's where I came from. The Roach Cemetery's up that way. And right here, this road also has another branch that goes off in this direction to the right. So that's not shown on the old maps. Maybe if I go to an even older map, I can get an idea where that went. One mile into my hike, I'm down to 2220 elevation. That's the direction I'm headed. And there's the direction I came from, up there where the cemetery is. And Skyline Drive. To give you an idea how steep the mountain is here, there's kind of the profile of it. Way down there I can hear water. There's looking to the west. So I'm gonna keep on following this down. It's gonna be a long climb back up though. I don't know. When I get down here a little further, I might chicken out and change my mind and turn around. But for now, I'm gonna keep heading down. Okay, well the road's behind me, and I came over here to look at this great big pile of rocks. Almost looks like rubble from somebody's house or something. This is in a pretty flat area. Here's the area. It's pretty flat, and when the road's right there, so the road went right past somebody's place here. So I'll mark that on the GPS, and then I'm going to continue on down the side of the mountain for a while. Hiking's getting harder now because I'm down into prickly bush territory. .3 miles into my hike, I'm down to 2140 elevation, and there's another great big pile of rocks. I'm standing in the road. Here's the way I'm headed. And at first I thought maybe that was a wall or something, but it's not. It's just a great big huge mound of rocks. And I don't know where they all came from, unless just I think somebody lived up in through here, and they probably cleared off the land and piled all the rocks up right there. Anyway, we'll just keep heading down this way for a ways. It's not too bad. .5 miles into my hike, I'm down to 2,060 feet, and I'm down to water now. So here's the road over here, all blocked with stuff, but I'm going to keep going for a ways, and we're in a steep canyon now, so there's no way out except to follow the stream. Here we go. .8 miles into my hike, I'm down to 1,870 feet, and that looks like that's a dugout area with rocks piled up there on the high side. Almost looks like somebody dug out a well here, spring well, or just a real shallow well. It comes across the road here and empties down into the creek. So I'm still following the road. There's the road right there. And I don't know, I got another 1/10 of a mile or so to the park boundary. So may as well keep going. Okay, I'm changing my mind about what this dugout area is. I mean, it's way bigger and more substantial than what it looked like from the road. I mean, maybe you can see the rocks piled up there, and then the big holes right there. But then it extends on up this way. So I don't know, that's starting to look more like maybe somebody was digging out minerals or something here. You know, a real shallow mine or something. Two miles into my hike, I'm down to 1,810 feet, and I'm at the park boundary. I don't see any blazing, but there's some houses right there, and this entire side of the mountain over here has been completely stripped down, completely bare. All the trees have been pushed down. Really sad. Look at that. All the trees are gone. So, some sort of dwellings going in there. So, and huge piles of rocks here so that you can't get up the road. There's a pile there. There's another big pile up there to block the road. So, here's the bottom of the park. So I got to get way back up to Smith Roach Gap where my car is. So it was 2 miles down, so it's probably pretty close to 2 miles back up. 2.4 miles into my hike. I just climbing up through 2,000 feet, and I'm coming up by a different branch of the road than what I went down on. So this branch of it right here is the one I was looking for going down, and I followed it down to a certain point, and then I hit a turning point, and I went one way and this road went the other way, I guess. But anyway, they both take you down to the bottom of the park. But anyway, I'm up to 2,000 feet. My car's up at 2,600, so I got another 600 feet to climb. Three miles into my hike, climbing through 2,400 feet right now. Oh man, I'm beat. Let's see, I got 200 more vertical feet to climb. I just came from down around that corner. That's the west side of the mountain. And I'm going around this bend and heading up this way. Pretty soon I'll be back up to the old cemetery. This is a map of today's hike. The quadrangle name is Smith Roach Gap, and I hiked an abandoned trail, Smith Roach Gap Trail, which goes down the west side of the mountain. I went down there for a couple of reasons. The first thing is it's abandoned, and secondly, there's a family cemetery, Smith Roach Cemetery, part of the way down the road. This red line here is Skyline Drive. So this is the top of the mountain. And you park right here at Smith Roach Gap. There's a nice parking lot here, over here on the east side, that can hold maybe a dozen cars if you pack everybody in there. Now in the old days, this road, and over here, this is the west side. This area down here at the bottom of the mountain is called Sandy Bottom. And Route 626 in the old days extended, was probably called something else then, but it used to come up the side of the mountain on the west side, up like this, up to the gap, and then go down the east side like this. Now, the Park Service maintains the road on the east side, and it's called Smith Roach Gap Road, Fire Road, but they abandoned the road on the west side for some reason. So you park here, get out onto Skyline Drive, hike north about 1/10 of a mile, and then start looking over the side for the old road. And here's the old road going on down the side of the mountain. Now when I got down to here, sure enough, you'll find the old cemetery. Right before you get to the cemetery, you'll see this rock wall, about a 4-foot high rock wall, which is actually reinforcement for another road that comes over like this. So just above the rock wall, if you walk a little further to the west, you'll see the old cemetery. Now it's completely abandoned. There used to be barbed wire around it, but all the barbed wire is down now. And most of the markers are just simple field stones stuck into the ground. There's 4 or 5 of them here that are a little bit larger and have some hand engraving on them with the last name Roach, R-O-A-C-H. So then I continued on down the road, and in the videos I point out various things that I saw along the way. Followed this all the way down to here. This is the park boundary, and once you get down to here, you can see all sorts of houses and new subdivisions going in down here. It's starting to get built up. Then I turned around and came back up. Now I don't show it here with the line, but there's a network of roads in here, so my route back up was slightly different than going back down. You'll see that on my GPS track, and then back up to here. Now this Smith Roach Gap is a nice place to start some hikes. This is one of them, but this is a bushwhack, and it's fairly difficult, at least for me, because first of all the road's all blocked with all sorts of blown down trees and stuff, and also in some places it can be hard to find, and also it's really steep right in through here. It's a really steep hike. Now, a lot easier hike is to park here in the same spot and go down the east side to the park boundary. The Park Service is maintaining this road, and when you get down to here, you'll see it's chained off here, and it's chained off up here too. Also, the Appalachian Trail runs through this gap, so you could get on the Appalachian Trail from here and hike either north or south. Ended up being 3.7 miles and 937 feet of ascent. And that was the hike for today.